Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Some bite down boxing talk. I'm just trying to ride this situation out, man. I really just want to know when Deontay Wilder's next fight date is. To be honest with you, the whole situation, you know, from February 22nd, 2020 until the end of the year, basically, that's kind of all dead to me for the most part. But people continue to pick their sides and acknowledge what they want to acknowledge, disregard what they want to disregard. I don't even know what some people are even upset at, or who they're upset at with, what they're upset about. Um, it's just that kind of it's really gone that awry. And I think with the serious allegations that are out there that were made, there was a proper way to do something about that. There was a proper course of action to take. All of that was ignored, and and whatever. And it's crazy that some people say don't negotiate a deal in public, or don't try to make a fight publicly. But then, all of this stuff gets publicized as Wilder is trying to work through whatever he's even trying to work through. So it's been messy and noisy, and some people like that. One thing that really stood out to me, and it came directly from a person inside the Team Wilder camp, which kind of and it kind of sealed the deal for me. I really, like I said, I really have no concern. However, the cheating allegations or anything from the rematch, anything stemming from that, I really have no concern about how any of that gets worked out. And that's from this position right here. All of this rests at the feet of Deontay Wilder. At the end of the day, and you can listen to the channels out here who want to run with he was targeted, he was cheated, they're trying to do this to a black man, blah blah blah, and you can listen to someone tell you that he's been victimized and conspired against, and the others sought to set out to overthrow him or take him down and all of that stuff. With that said, his career, his business is his responsibility. And if you knew these people were on their job, then and you're getting more and more lax with how you defend what's yours. Well, you just succumb to the stuff that a lot of folks often succumb to. As far as we know, the only two people that didn't fall to didn't fall was Floyd and Andre Ward. So, and we know those are two polarizing situations or individuals. But again, the one thing that shuts most of this down for me, and I'll get to the Mark Breland comments in a minute, but the one thing that shuts this down for me, I was watching a live stream of this Lion Killa podcast, or Lion Killa's live stream, and he had an individual from Wilder's camp who's been involved the entire way. This Tay Jones kid. And he said on the live stream that after Nate Campbell, who's like the co-host or the second mic on there, they were talking about Deontay Wilder left camp or shut down camp early, 2 weeks specifically ahead of the Tyson Fury rematch. It was said a few times. That's the only reason I hung around, to see if they were going to dig into that. So Tay Jones comes back at after a few minutes and laughs it off and says, "I'm gonna keep it real with you or something, or I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie, something," and said, "Yeah, he did leave camp early." And I saw, for those of you that watch the Goodfella channel, Goodfella Sports, CJ Goodfella, he mentioned it for the last 2 to 3 months that Deontay Wilder broke camp early. And Goodfella was saying that it was to go see about the girl, his fiance, girlfriend, whatever she is. I said, okay, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. So this Tay Jones cat says, I ain't gonna lie, he did, man, he did. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so, but then he tried to say it was a few days. It was only a few days early that he broke camp. But then he tried to put the date, the time together in his head and came back and said, yeah, real talk, it was like 2 weeks. So for me right there, in my basic understanding of boxing and following this and thinking about world-class fights and tough fights, championship boxing, that lines up with why he looked the way that he looked on fight night. I don't really believe this whole drugged and spiked water stuff. I don't really buy that. But this is why early in the first round he looks uncomfortable. You can talk about what his legs were. We can all, give our opinion on his legs, blah blah this and whatever. I saw a fighter who looked at what he was facing and knew that he wasn't prepared. That's what I saw. And I saw him do some things and have some success very early on, just instinctively. But then all of that kind of ran out and he realizes he's fighting differently. He's doing things that I'm uncomfortable with. I didn't expect this. And then I haven't been in camp for a week or more going into this situation. I'm fucked up out here. I'm down bad right now. So that's my interpretation of it. He can say what he wants to say, and the people that just jump behind, well, he said he didn't feel right. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Yeah, that wasn't you. Because you've never come into it, that we know of, you've never come into a fight that unprepared against that level of competition. And then the other thing here is that it wasn't like you just took off your shit and went and tapped gloves and you didn't feel right. You got dropped. You know what I'm saying? You got hit. When you get hit, shit don't feel right. So to sit here and just go to, he didn't look the same. You're on the money, brother. Sad thing is it shouldn't take a rock. Yeah, this shit is like, this is ABC 1, 2, 3. And like I said, this Tay Jones confirmed everything for me. I'm not pulling stuff out of the sky and random theories. Just like I told you a couple videos ago, the Drew Titan cat, this new face of the LDBC, to go back and say now Anthony Joshua was poisoned in June of 2019 at Madison Square Garden because he said, "Why do I feel like this?" It was pretty obvious why he felt like that. He was dropped multiple times and possibly concussed. What the hell do you mean he was poisoned? He was poisoned with some gloves, with some punches. The lunacy and all of this stuff, to just what we do in this country, man, when we encounter stuff that we don't like or stuff doesn't line up with us, how people back that narrative is crazy. The only thing that's fishy is the glove pick. Now that's from the first fight though, right? I don't know. I haven't seen any funny stuff in the second fight. I just haven't. But yeah, here's two individuals who got rocked. Tim Bradley against the Siberian Rocky cat. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head. He looked bad for like 4 or 5 rounds and said that he didn't remember shit for like 2 or 3 months or something. He was messed up. When you get hit on in your head and squarely in your on your chin, you're not gonna feel right. Then the new thing is Adrian Broner. Yeah, I saw some things in the first fight that were, I couldn't really explain them, but we passed that. You made the rematch. We're dealing with the rematch. But what was I getting ready to say? Provodnikov. Thank you. But then we're gonna go to Adrian Broner was cheated. He was cheated too. Did you see the punch that Adrian Broner got hit with? Did you see how cleanly it landed? I mean, the dude, Adrian Broner, take a hell of a punch, but it's certain shots when you get hit that damn cleanly, you don't have there's nowhere for that energy to go but through you and to take your ass down to the floor. So for him to get hit and say that he hit me the hardest I've ever been hit, have you seen anybody else hit him that flushly, that cleanly? You know, maybe Pacquiao did once or something in that fight. But this was when he was still not fighting as cautiously and defensively and whatnot. But yeah, Provodnikov rocked Tim Bradley and had him on roller skates and looking bad for several rounds. It's boxing. The shit happens. But again, if you tell me that that you skipped out on 2 weeks of camp and your teammate confirms that, a dude in your corner in the inner circle, because if Tay Jones wasn't legit with what he said, why isn't anybody coming out disputing that? Why isn't Tay Jones being kicked out of the circle? So if he said it and I'm not hearing nothing about it 3 days later, had to be some validity to it. And I've been hearing that rumor for like 2 or 3 months anyway. So I'm sorry, man. If you think that you can play boxing like that, if you think that you can skip practice for 2 weeks or a week in a sport like boxing, and you think you can come into a fight with a world-class fighter and look like you want to look, again, I really question the business sense and damn near the common sense. I'm really starting to question a lot of things about the guy as an adult, as a person. But like I said, all of this gets laid at his feet. I don't have to point my finger at the Nevada State Athletic Commission and JD's and Team Fury, and you know, the one overarching rule in boxing is to protect yourself at all times. So for you to be that negligent in your training, in your preparation for the biggest fight of your career, and we already know that he thought it was going to be round 13. He said, you know, all I got to do is go in here and finish the job. He doesn't have any thinking of, I'm going to have to do some things to finish that job. The way he thinks is, I just got to go in here and finish the job. It's that simple. It's a wrap. Shit wasn't sweet. Plain and simple. Getting to the Mark Breland thing. This is what's kind of hilarious about this whole situation is, I'm really not all that big of a fan of a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters aren't good interviews. A lot of fighters aren't great on the microphone. A lot of fighters aren't, they're not really salesmen of what they do. And it depends on what setting, what environment they say these things in. But now we have Deontay Wilder he comes out with his response to what Mark Breland said by the 78 cat, who is obviously ardent Wilder supporter. He's not there to challenge anything, to question anything. It's to basically give you a platform to say what you want, the messaging that you want the people to get. He still never asked him any of the questions that I've been waiting to hear responses to. But that's his platform. But then we got Breland over here writing. I didn't know he had this book on the way and whatnot, but he's got a book coming out. I guess this will be a part of it. But Breland went and did this interview with Tunde Jai, and Spencer Fearon. I haven't listened to it. Don't really care to. Don't want to. Don't need to. But he comes out and makes this post on social media, and he confirms a lot of stuff that we already knew. Now, I'm not going to take him word for word that the dude doesn't jump rope, he doesn't hit the heavy bag, he doesn't run, whatever. I'm not going to take him for his word per se. But again, there's obviously been some bullshit going on inside Team Wilder for years. And again, this is Deontay Wilder's shop. This is his business. How you run your show and run your shop, that's your responsibility. So don't come sit here, you know, if shit was bad going into this fight, shit went bad in the fight. After the fight, in a humiliating loss like that, it finally boils over. And so it's no real issue now that all this stuff is being said. With Mark Breland. Nobody said anything a year and a half ago, or maybe it was after maybe it was before the Ortiz fight. It was either around Dominic Brazil or Ortiz. Mark Breland was on, I think it was a Fight Hype video. I don't watch a whole lot of these videos because I really don't care about the gossipy side of this shit, to be honest with you. But I watched this Mark Breland fight, and Mark Breland said, this is after the first fight with Fury. Mark Breland said with his own mouth to the microphone, into the camera, he said, "I get to camp when I get to camp." The dude was asking him, like, are y'all going to do any extra work for the rematch? Are there any things you guys want to sharpen up and put extra time on? And Mark Breland was like, I get to the camp when I get to it. And again, I'm just sitting here like, he was like, sometimes I come in around week 6, week 5, like, yo, this is not good. These aren't best practices. And so I always stuck with that, like, well, what is going on behind the scenes that's allowed, that's accepted, either by JD's, who's his co-manager or whatever, or by Deontay Wilder himself, who's allowing this type of behavior to go on when y'all got real shit to do. So then, like I said, I get to reading into this shit that Mark Breland has said, and it's all lining up. This is the type of fuck shit, for lack of a better word. This is the type of fuck shit that's been allowed to exist for the past couple of years, and the shit finally caught up to him. That's it. It's the whole shooting match. The whole shooting match. Now, and we already know he said some stuff in there, and that's the thing. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad business for Breland to sit here and continue to get a check and go to work, knowing that he's not earning his money. But who wouldn't do it? It's a great gig if you can get it. Let's look at Ernesto Rodriguez. I think it's Rodriguez, who was involved with Jarrett Hurd. He said the same shit. He said Jarrett Hurd's the team got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and he said other people were in Jarrett Hurd's ear while he's trying to do his work. And other people are interjecting with do this and try that. And these ain't even fighting people. These ain't even boxing people. And Ernesto was man enough to say, and I got some of the videos in the playlist and whatnot, but Ernesto, after the loss to J-Rock, Ernesto was man enough to say, hey, I'm out. Jarrett Hurd wanted to continue the relationship. Ernesto was like, nah, bro, you know, he saw his fighter get manhandled and beat up that night in front of his hometown crowd with the Redskins band there and shit. Ernesto was that honorable. He was like, nah, I step to the side and let you run the show the way that you run the show. You know, this is all on an embarrassing loss like this. All of this comes down on me. I'm not cool with this shit. I love you. We started together. I'm out, bro. No problem. But here in this situation, Breland continued to take the money. Deontay Wilder knows that this man isn't earning his money. And this hardest shit about, I don't have Wilder's phone number. I don't talk to Wilder man to man or alone. I got to run through JD's. I'm sure Breland is uncomfortable in this situation where he is the one that knows something about boxing and should be in control of things, in control of preparation. But again, JD's, why don't you step aside? Or why aren't you? That's what I'm saying. It's a messy situation. You can't have that many chefs in the kitchen. And as the opponents get better and better, as the stakes get higher and higher, as the lights get brighter and brighter, you can't go into these situations and expect to be 100 on fight night, and you just spent, 8 to 10, 4 to 6 weeks of training with all of these different messages and this lack of professionalism, and you're not going to be able to go in here and produce and be successful against the best in the world. The thing is, we heard this before, winning masks everything. Wilder and Breland never cussed each other out because Wilder's right hand made things look good enough. And another thing that came out in that live stream on Lion Killa's live stream, another thing that came out was that at the Ortiz fight, it was either the Ortiz or the first fight with Tyson Fury. They said that Tay Jones confirmed it. He said that Mark Breland left. He left. He walked away because Wilder wasn't doing what he wanted to be done. Again, something egregious like that happens during a fight, you abandon your post. But because I knocked Ortiz out, or because I knocked Fury down in the 12th round or whatever, I knocked him down and possibly should have gotten a victory, word a different referee, and I get a draw, I hold my title, I retain my title, and we have the expectation to have this exciting rematch. I don't go back there. Nobody went back there and addressed the situation then. Bruh, you done. You can't do that on my team. You done. You finished. They allowed it to go on. They come back. They put the band back together for the rematch, and more bullshit happens. So again, all of this stuff it ultimately all rolls up to the man in charge of everything. For Breland to say one thing that I thought was important in there, and I thought was telling, and I can't ignore, as somebody who covers the sport, as somebody who a fan of the sport, and watching all that I watch. Breland said that the man didn't have he didn't even, and I didn't even notice it until he said it, but he said, the dude didn't have a cut man. And he said he doesn't have a cut man because Deontay Wilder doesn't believe he'll need one. How many corners can you cut in boxing, man? I mean, and we already know you're not that great as a boxer. You capable of creating great moments. We've seen the struggles and going 2 and 3, 4 rounds without winning rounds. We've seen you struggle with Gerald Washington. We saw you have great highlight stuff against dudes tailored for what you do. But to not have a cut man. Last thing I say, and I've got to get on off of here. I think it was somewhat not incriminating. I think it was. I will give it to Deontay that I agree with him in the sense that based on Breland's own words in that post on Instagram, as he goes and lays out what his role is and what JD's role is, for him to throw the towel in, I do agree, even though it may have been the right thing to do at that moment, he probably shouldn't have done that. But JD's was just as he was just as derelict in his duties and sitting there allowing it to go on. He's not helping his fighter when he's coming to the corner in worse shape than when he left the round before. We don't hear JD saying anything of how to turn the tide in this one-sided fight. We don't see him saying anything. So again, 360, the whole team is a shit show. It was a shit show, and they got embarrassed. And on top of that, like I said, now to hear that the man broke camp at least a week and a half early, and that's another thing. If you broke camp a week and a half or 2 weeks prior to fight week, then you get into fight week and you have more downtime where you're not sparring and you're not really, you're not really doing heavy training. That's 2 to 3 weeks of you just can't go into a fight like that. I'm sorry. So I ain't even sorry. That's the realities of boxing, man. I mean, it's just like I said. You can't. This isn't basketball where you don't practice during the week, or football where you show up to the walk around and you still get to play on game day. Like it's not the same thing. Now I'm sure some fighters have gotten to fight week and arrived at fight night with different, having taken different shortcuts because of injuries or, different, maybe some stuff was going on with nutrition or weight loss and whatnot. I'm sure dudes have come in different situations, but to just completely not be training for 2 to 3 weeks prior to a fight of that magnitude, again, I can't really sit here and focus on the half dozen or the dozen reasons that I've been given how you were wrong. You didn't really give yourself a chance on that fight night. So I don't know, man. Breland, again, it's Deontay Wilder's show. That's garbage in, garbage out. They say in the tech world, garbage in, garbage out. Garbage came into the ring from a garbage training camp, and garbage got carried out of the ring with your first loss and being humiliated and knocked out and stopped. I mean, that's how I see it. I'm still waiting on somebody, whether it's a fan, whether it's Wilder himself, whether it's JD's himself. I'm still waiting to be told how this egg weight, if that's what you're running with, how does the egg weight go inside the glove? How do you get your hand in the glove and then be able to squeeze the egg weight, or they put the egg weight on top of walk me through how it works. I mean, I'm always interested in learning new stuff. So I mean, if you can walk me through it and explain it to me, I can look at it and make a determination. But to just sit here and tell me that the gloves were loaded, I don't know what I can do with that. That's just me. Anyway, man, let me get on off here. Bite down boxing, don't let them count you out. When's the fight date, man? When's the next fight? That's all I really care about, man. When is the next fight? How do you get things restarted? And your people, your loyal subjects, man, they need you. They willing to kiss the knee and travel and be entertained and all that shit. Help these people out, man. They walking around like zombies. They walking around like well, let me quit playing with people's feelings. I'm out of here. Peace.